Yeah. Go.
There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another WXR. Today we're going to. Thank you. Today we are. All right. Today we are going to be discussing the 2K15 video game coming out this October, I believe. And they had some information at E3, and so I think we're going to discuss some of that and other things that we might want to see in it. So, anyone have any stuff that we learned about it that you'd like to throw out there? Like the roster. Is CM Punk in it? I saw a thing of that.
They only announced 4 members of the roster. I think they announced Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Bray Wyatt, and someone else.
Roman Reigns.
I thought Cesaro was announced too.
Yeah, they announced 5 of them. It was Hogan, Cena, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, Roman Reigns. Those were the 5 announced.
So I remember the important ones.
Yep.
You did? Wait, who did you forget? Cesaro, I hope?
I forgot Cesaro and Roman Reigns.
Okay. That's fine then. So, yay.
I was letting one of
Yeah.
those guys go first because we technically already discussed this during XGR.
I'm really looking forward to it based on what we heard at E3, or around E3 days. The fact that it seems like 2K is kind of spearheading it and in charge. I mean, the guy, what's his name? Like Mark Little, I think is the producer's name. The guy basically in charge of that entire team. He's gone on the record as saying, "Oh, it's still, very much a cooperative effort and partnership between them and Ukes," but no, it's not. They are definitely in charge. That's what it sounds like to me, anyway.
It seems to be a cooperative thing because they didn't show much of the gameplay, but it seems like 2K are doing their strong suit of all the shiny, appealing, like aesthetics, and letting Yux do the gameplay, which that could be pretty cool.
Not really, because the biggest problem we've had with the WWE games, let's face it, is the gameplay. And if Yux is going to be allowed to do the gameplay, then my hopes will be dashed, because it's just going to be more of the same shit. We're not going to get anything fixed. Nothing is going to work. It's just going to look shiny, and I'm like, I don't want a game that looks good. I want a game that plays right. And that's what I'm hoping 2K will do. With them spearheading this, I'm hoping that they'll go to Yux and say, look, make the game fucking work.
Yeah, to be fair though, we've also said the last few games have been good, minus a few glitches, and minus the fact the commentators sound like shit and the audio sounds like shit. Which means the fact they're fixing it looks like shit and they're fixing the commentators being shit means it's pretty straight away. They've already knocked out 2 problems we had.
Well, the thing is,
and
the reason
we're gonna buy it regardless.
Yeah, well, the reason why I think 2K is more in charge and more doing the stuff than Ukes is because of another thing that Mark Little, and I hope I got the first name right. I know his last name is Little. But one thing that he said that really stuck out to me, and that made me go, is 2K basically telling Ukes what to do? And it's because he said outright in the statement that, look, our franchise here, this WWE franchise, it's not an arcade game with wrestlers in it. We're going to make a wrestling game. And I'm just like, they're committing to that? Does that mean they're going to tell Ukes off and tell them, no, this shit's not going to fly? Because it's too arcadey?
Could be, or it could just be a case of they decided Yux let them know that they're improving the gameplay, so that's what they're talking about. We don't know.
Maybe.
Also, I'm hoping it'll be better. I'm hoping for some depth, and I'm hoping for not more of the same. Because I like some of the gameplay, but it could be a lot better.
Did you just say WWE and then depth?
No, I said 2K and depth, because that's what they're known for.
Kind of.
Now, one of my fears, though, because I recently did get NBA 2K14 free for PlayStation Plus members on PlayStation Now. But I recently did get that, and I started playing that. I hope they don't completely replace the CAW and put their own in there, because I'm sorry, that's one thing that Ukes does very, very well, and compared to Ukes' CAW, I'm sorry, the 2K one is complete shit. My opinion, anyway.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the 2K one. The customizing features of, like, well, what would be the equivalent to create a move set, it actually kind of impressed me. But actually creating the character, let's put it to you this way: you only get to mess with the face.
You only get to mess with the face and stuff, which I didn't like that, although I did like some of the other stuff with it, because they were going with the thing if you need to look like every other basketball player on your team because the basketball players are a certain build, whereas, to be fair, most basketball players, well, there's differentiating. There's not as much difference between them as, say, the difference between Big Show and Heath Slater.
Right, and that's why I'm hoping they'll let Ukes continue to do the
Yeah.
CAW and kind of not interfere with that, because that is one thing I will say I love from the Ukes games. The one constant that's pretty much always been good throughout all the games is to create a wrestler feature. They know how to do that right.
Yeah, although I'm hoping, like most sports games, I'm hoping they put a cap on what you can max out with your CAW, so you've only got a set number of points. I'm also hoping they do the CAW parts a lot better, because we've had the same parts for fucking years. Which, yeah, okay, you get to make the same CAW, but I also liked how they did the parts in the NBA one. Of the more you progressed, the more you earned. You got to go to the store and buy the pieces of better attire. I like that.
Fair enough. Yeah, they need to bring that back, like the WWE shop cart from the older games. Yeah, they need to bring that back. I agree.
I don't mean like the WWE shop cart where that was for weapons and stuff. I mean the way they had it where it was for clothes and accessories. So better your CAW is in terms of the story and universe and stuff, and the more money you earn, the better their attire is going to be, which makes sense because, like, an NXT guy, for example, doesn't have the same attire or the same expensive clothing, like the $5,000 shirts and shit, as like The Rock.
Yeah, like, yeah, I understand what you were saying. Make it WWE shop though, but instead of having a cart, make it like the WWE shop app on your phone, so you can order clothes and stuff. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I agree. The parts for Create a Wrestler have become kind of stagnant. What they have is good. I have always thought, at least, especially in the past maybe 5 years or so, I've always felt they needed to expand it instead of trying to keep it the same number and just swapping parts out. I'm like, no, you've had good parts in here. You have good parts in here. Give us more. Or, you know what I mean? Or it's like, take some of the parts where you have, like for instance, for shirts, where you have like 5 of the same shirt and condense it down to 1 and give us 4 different other shirts. You know? Like, why?
Yep, although sometimes the different shirts is, is because of the different styles and stuff, but they should have, like, some of them will be longer, some of them will be tighter and stuff, which, okay, fair enough, but yeah, the other thing they need to fix, which I think it was you, or it might be the silent one, it could have, was basically the CAWs never look like the actual wrestlers, they look like crap.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a further separation of that given the technology that 2K is using. This year CAW will never look like the wrestlers now.
No, but
unless they give you the ability to body scan in your living room.
Which they might do with Kinect and PlayStation Camera. But no, I was saying they need, instead of scanning, I mean, I know the scanned ones are going to look better, but for the last couple of years, the wrestlers have looked like shit, and the CAWs have looked like 3 generations ago game style compared to them. And it's like, no, they should look similar or better. They shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, the difference between the two shouldn't be that much. It should be like the difference between most things. You know what I mean? Like, even the commentator models look better than us.
I think the differentiation is going to be smaller now with 2K driving the graphics engine, because again, from what I've seen of 2K14, and mind you, I haven't played a lot of it, but from what I've seen of it, given the fact also that they give you a default model, so you can't really change your body, but your creative player and the actual players are actually pretty close. I mean, granted, when I customized my head to make it look like me, yeah, it looked kind of all sorts of wrong with.
But that's how your head actually looks. Your head looks all sorts of wrong.
Yeah. Well, it looked all sorts of wrong because I couldn't edit the body, so it's like it's my head on like a basketball player's body. I'm like, no.
Bobblehead.
Yeah, and I will say, since I'm going off on a little NBA rant here, the other thing that pissed me off with that game, at least I couldn't tell, I couldn't figure out how to change my voice. So I'm walking around talking like a black guy, and I'm like, I'm not black.
True that, Joe.
Well, okay, for that kind of
IQ,
thing.
Jay.
Wow. At least in the wrestling ones, I felt like the models were okay versus the actual wrestlers. The one that annoyed me was on like the match cards, whatever you want to call them, where they had like those nice pictures of the wrestler, and then they had like the digitized like a still picture of your model, and it looked so stupid next to it.
Yeah.
It's like
after it took like 8 minutes to load that fucking picture.
yeah. It's like, just why can't you just take that same image of the actual wrestlers, so it at least looks better? You know, like
I completely agree. Or at least do, like, if you've made your own custom logo in Paint Tool or something, let you use just the logo.
yeah.
So, like, let's say my logo would just be like the mole logo or something like that, and that's all it'll say. That looks a lot better than digitized versions of superstars and one guy going, "Hey," like the fun.
Hey.
Yeah, actually, honestly, one thing that always pissed me off about the WWE games, even through to the current ones, which I hope and I think they're going to fix with this one, again, because 2K is driving the graphics, so they're using completely different technology now. I hope they use it across the board, and that is make the divas look like the superstars. Don't make them look like CAWs, because I'm sorry, for basically the entire run of the franchise, they basically shit it all over the divas.
Like WWE.
Exactly.
Worse than WWE.
But
Yeah, I want the divas to actually look like the divas for once, and I think, assuming they use the same technology they used with the superstars, assuming they use that with the divas, then that shouldn't be an issue.
Yep, and also, Rick, I
Mhm.
think, technically speaking, did I just keep continuity? I
Maybe.
believe it was under XGR when I made the joke of I've been using loads of outdated references, but don't worry, I'm gonna get us up to date by watching that new show I've just bought on DVD called Happy Days. Now my references will not be outdated.
There you go.
And today,
Hey. Continuity. Boom.
you're not allowed to do that. You haven't experienced the continuity.
Funny.
But yeah, I'm also looking forward to the fact that they're basically remote capping and expanding the move list, which I'm like, yes, finally, new animations.
Yep. I'm also hoping they go, because now we've discussed what they're improving. When we talk about what we're hoping as well, like I've mentioned in the past, I kind of want, like the 5-star wrestling game has, I want, if I'm tired and I do my finisher, it shouldn't look the same. Or I want the possibility of, like, let's say Marcus has been working the leg all match instead of just posing. Let's say Marcus has been in the ring actually attacking and then did my leg. If I go to, like, say I go to do my power bomb to him or something like that, I want to be able to drop down because of it, or completely botch the move.
Yeah. Honestly,
Hopefully, I
like
don't botch it the same way Nash botched the power bomb to the Big Show, because yeah, I like Jeff's neck.
Oh, Jeff appreciates that. But the one thing I really want to see from this game is basically no market expansions or improvements. I want them to fix stuff, which is what seems like they're doing with the graphics, the gameplay, hopefully, the moveset. Put all your money, your resources, and your time into that, and maybe update some of, basically work on what exists. Update, the create a move and the create an entrance. Make that a little bit better. The create a show type thing. Make universe 10 times better. But don't give us, like, new quote-unquote modes, or don't give us new positions for your creative finish and stuff like that. Save that stuff. Fix everything first.
They've said they're giving new modes, apparently, in one of the interviews. They said there is going to be a couple of new game modes.
Well, what I'm thinking they're doing is they're probably going to add some game modes or variants of game modes from their existing games, like maybe something that comes out of like MLB
Yeah.
or I don't think they have MLB anymore, but like NBA or whatnot, which is fine because they won't have to put as much into that as they would to include, like, say, from the back position for a finish or something, because it's technology that technically they already have and that they've already done for like the past 10 years, so they could probably do it in their sleep.
Yeah, I'm hoping for Universe mode to have elements of that franchise career mode from NBA. I know there's a rumor, and it's just a rumor at this point, that they're meant to be doing a mode similar, but I'm hoping they add elements of that in Universe. Like, after a matchup, it'd be great if someone comes out and actually interviews me and I get the questions, like I get to list a whole bunch of answers and stuff for the matchup. Not all the time, but every now and again. And based on my answers, it can affect like how the universe perceives me, how people like me backstage, which people like me, which people hate me. Like, I don't know, if I was to come out on the microphone and say, I just won that matchup, but not because of the WWE Universe. I won it on my own, and because I was against Kofi Kingston. I was like, because Kofi Kingston was a jobber and he was in a tournament, he should now effectively become my rival, and the Universe should hate me.
Yeah, they should give you a little warning thing saying, warning, if you choose this, you're going to heel turn. And it should also affect, now that they're updating, revamping, and completely redoing how they do commentary in the game, it should also affect how Cole and King react to you on commentary.
Yep. And they obviously need the line in there once or twice. If you turn heel, they need to tell you, oh my god, he's just turned his back on the WWE Universe. It's like I mentioned in the past, with like small touches, like WrestleMania time, I want to point at the logo. Or at least give me an option in an interview to point at the logo.
One thing I do want in the game, and it's something I've wanted for a while, and yes, I know it kind of goes against what I said before, because it would be a new thing, but it's a small new thing. I want, like in universe mode, exhibition, that kind of stuff, I want a once per match use interference button, where when you hit the interference button, it basically cross-references your allies with your whoever you're facing's enemies, and decides, and then it also cross-references the card. Like, i.e., if they're in another match, they obviously won't come out. Like, for instance, if my best friend ally in the game is Richter.
Hi,
Hammer,
Richter.
Hi.
you know, if he's facing like the Big Show later that night, he obviously won't come out. So maybe they'll send Jim instead. But I wanted them to do that because I think that'd be awesome. And then once you've used it that match, you can't use it again, or because they have kind of a random interference type thing. Although in most matches they don't. It's set up before the match. I want it to be completely random in the match. People can interfere at any time, but each side only gets one interference. So, for instance, if the computer decides Jim is going to interfere, that locks out my ability to call for interference. But I want also, conversely, then the ability to interfere in matches myself, to just press and be like, I'm going to interfere. Like, if I'm watching the match and I'm like, for instance, let's say it's a match between Triple H and Roman Reigns, and I'm like, yeah, Triple H is being a douche. I'm going to come out and kick his ass.
See, I'd like interference to work more like how they claimed DCUO was going to work at one point when they mentioned, let's say you were constantly being killed by enemies or other players. Then you got like the Justice League flies down, helps you out. It would be great if, let's say, they balance interference. So let's say I'm against Marcus and the matchup is pretty close. There's less likely of a percentage of interference. But if I'm against Marcus and let's say it's a squash match either side, whichever one's getting their ass completely kicked, then they're more likely to have interference come out to help even the odds.
I would say yes and no. I would say for the face, yes, but for the heel, it needs to be completely ass random. Because when has a heel ever played fair?
I think it would be cool if, maybe in conjunction with the other stuff, I think they could turn interference into an oh my god. Build up 3 finishers, then you can hit a button, just have somebody come in and interfere.
Oh, that would actually be kind of neat.
Congratulations, you just wasted 3 finishers summoning Heath Slater. Bravo.
No, it'll be cool. The other 2 are fired, so he won't have any partners or friends in the game.
Yeah, so it'll just be him. That makes it
No,
worse.
okay,
Not unless they're going to put Hornswoggle playable in the game.
okay.
No, what they need to do, you just gave me a great idea, Jim. They have interference the way we have it, we would like it. What they make as an oh my god is if you're in a multi-person stable, like you have at least 3 people in the stable, when you hit that, your entire stable comes out and beats the shit out of your opponent.
So basically, that's the shield button.
Yeah, or the NWO button. Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what was Richter going to say?
I was gonna say to go off Jim's idea. What if you depending on how many you stored finishers you use, you get better people. So if you just do 1, you get Heath Slater, but 2, you might get like Roman Reigns, and then 3, you'll get like Triple H to like no sell whatever they hit him with or something.
There you go.
Or you get John Cena and Super Cena comes out.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Although I will say, if Heath Slater does have Hornswoggle as a playable in the game, then if he is available in there, then that would be cool, because then Marcus Shadow can actually make a realistic CAW.
Yeah.
Fuck
It
you.
would.
I kind of like my idea with the stable thing, because then you can include in the create a moveset. You can include stable taunt, which you do that when you activate your oh my god moment. So you can have something like, for instance, you can set your stable taunt as the wolf pack symbol. So when you hit the oh my god, you put your right arm up and you do the wolf pack thing, and then like the X pound descends or something.
Yeah.
Which
I think that'd
that's
be
pretty cool. Like I said, I like the idea of more of the interference is kept for an equalizer. However, I would also give, like the abilities you get where you got like ring out and stuff, I'd give us some more of them and make one of those up the chances of interference. Because that would be like it ups your percentage 10% or something like that, which that'd be, because then heels obviously can have that, and then you give the faces and different ability to balance it out a little bit or whatever. But I think that'd be cooler, because I don't want interference in all my matches if I'm playing unless it's a case of I absolutely 100% need it. Then it'd be cooler for interference, because otherwise I just want to play the game and not have to worry about, oh, okay, was I actually going to beat this guy, or was the interference going to come out? Which means if it's more of a, you know what I mean, like it's more balanced. Like it'd be cool if, let's say, I'm against fucking, I don't know, Dean Ambrose, and I'm going pre-split up, and let's say it's a complete squash match. It would be cool if like Roman Reigns came out, so I had to fight him off, and then Dean Ambrose, so it'd kind of equalize the match. That'd be awesome for me, because I'd be like, it's more likely I could lose that match, or more likely Dean Ambrose can get some momentum, because now the tides are turned.
Mm-hmm. One thing they could do to kind of equalize it, I don't know if I would like it as much as the way I want to do it, but they could kind of merge that with a different idea that, different gameplay that they've had in the past. What if they make that the momentum shift? So instead of the momentum shift being like a taunt and then your finisher, it's you have a friend or a stable come out and turn the tide for you.
Could do, as long as it's not the fucking mini game of the momentums, because I fucking hate those. They're too easy to reverse. When someone starts to build up momentum, because it's like
you're talking about the comeback combo.
Yeah.
No. You still have that. I'm talking about momentum shift, like Day of Reckoning style, where you do it. It's kind of like how I wanted the oh my god run in. Instead of that, make that strictly your run in, and it's when you have momentum, instead of having to have 3 finishers, it's just bring back like the momentum meter, and have it when you have, like, if you have like no momentum, then you can activate it and you'll like throw up the wolf pack symbol or whatever, and then the X pound will descend.
But Marcus, I always have momentum. Thank you. But no, I was gonna say something else I keep asking for every year. I want them to fix Money in the Bank.
Yes.
I want them to fix Money in the Bank so you get the option to set it as random, and also if they interfere, it should be after the match, so you've actually played through the matchup, and damage should carry over. So let's say, like, I don't know, it's Kane and Undertaker and I don't know, Cena in a matchup, and Cena's champion, he overcomes the odds and he wins his title, but he's completely fucking almost completely on bread. And then a CAW, when like I don't know, I cash in Money in the Bank, or someone else comes out if you're playing a Cena, it should be like, oh fuck, when they cash in their Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think, now that I think about it, two things that really do need to be addressed / improved / fixed before any large-scale additions or improvements are implemented, and that includes the aforementioned interference, as much as I like that. The two things I think need to be addressed and fixed. One is, like what you said, the Money in the Bank, fix that shit, especially if that's going to be a staple, because it's not Money in the Bank right now. It's the bastardization of Money in the Bank. But the other thing, and I've said at least throughout basically the entirety of last generation, there's no excuse for this whatsoever. Allow us to do at least 5v5 matches so we can actually have a Survivor Series, please.
Yep, I'm hoping they do that, because they did pull the bull crap of they couldn't because of the system limitations with how they did their engine. So I was like, oh okay. But hopefully that means in the next systems, because they're more powerful, that shouldn't be a limitation.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
Well,
be.
not only that, but if 2K is lending them a hand, there really is no excuse, because they've perfected having 5-on-5 basically matches on the screen. It's called basketball, people.
True, but basketball doesn't have the same amount of move sets and stuff to read as the pro wrestling does.
Have you seen what you can customize in NBA 2K14? It's pretty fucking close.
Yes, I had it before you, but it was a case of it's not the same, because it's like slight variations on shoots and stuff, but if you press the button there, you still shoot the same way, or you still shoot pretty much. Whereas, say like the same thing on wrestling, if you press the button there, you could do a power bomb, or you could swing them and do a kick, or you could do a punch, or you could do fucking like a submission. There's more variants in pro wrestling.
I still think they could do it. I mean, because that's... that's like probably one of the longest staples you're going to have for wrestling in the game is the Survivor Series. And I don't think, not once since Ukes has taken over, and I don't even know if before that, Richter would be able to elaborate on that since he owns the older games, but not once since Ukes has taken over, I don't think they've done the Survivor Series match right because of, quote, limitations, unquote.
Yep. And like I've mentioned in the past, if I could pick two things to improve, the two I've mentioned before now, which we disagree on, fair enough, is A, the reversal system needs to go back to the two buttons. It's a fucking joke as it is now. And B, Legendary, putting a game on more difficult does not mean you can't get an attack in because the computer suddenly reverses everything you do. It's like they should be outsmarting you. They should be more aggressive. They should be thinking, not God modded. So it's like, oh, okay, that nothing works on it. It's fucking. I mean, I'm against, like, say, Rey Mysterio. I'm not against Broly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm facing Rey Mysterio. I'm not facing, like, I don't know, Daniel Bryan, who, okay, compared to Rey Mysterio, could feasibly reverse like that. Rey Mysterio, not so much.
To be fair, Daniel Bryan shouldn't even reverse everything unless you're on about Super Bryan. But
I'm talking about if you're looking at Rey Mysterio and looking at Daniel Bryan, which one would you say, yeah, okay, I can kind of buy him reversing?
Either of them.
Really?
Rey's a veteran. He has experience on his side, so he's more likely to know what the moves are going to be and be able to judge the situation better in terms of being a veteran, as they call it, say. But it's a case of neither one. I'm not saying the computer shouldn't reverse. They should reverse. But even Daniel Bryan, if I'm playing as, say, Undertaker against Daniel Bryan, and I do a punch or try and attempt a tombstone or try a choke slam or anything I try, it shouldn't be a case of he reverses everything because it's incapable of difficulty. It's like, no, No, that's not difficulty. That's just frustration.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I regularly run it on about hard, about the middle. What does Jim think? He's been silent.
Hang on, let me tell you what Wikipedia says right now.
Yeah, very funny.
Thank you,
Says
thank
that
you.
they've added camera.
Richter's been silent too. Nobody asked what he thinks.
He's been hosting.
talking.
Stop. He's been hosting and participating. Stop devaluing Richter.
Is that our next shirt?
Stop devaluing Richter.
There you go.
Richter's worth more than the US dollar,
There you
according to the stock exchange.
Don't devalue me. It's for Brick Doom.
It's Rick Duke.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
what do you think of all Jim?
Personally, like I said, I'm really excited for the game. I think all the factors I heard about coming out, I think it's really going to be a really good game. Like I said, from what I've read, it looks like Ukes is kind of taking the backseat on the development, and 2K is kind of running the show. So I think they'll get the good parts of Ukes, their creative stuff, their ability to develop the game, but still somebody to tell them no and to make them fix the things that need to be fixed, and that's really going to help the game overall. I'm excited to see the create modes altered. I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. I've never really played a 2K game, so I don't really know what their creative suites are like in NBA or any of the other sports series. But I'm willing to give them a shot. See how it goes. I do think that the revamp of the commentary is going to be a very big help, and also the graphics update, obviously. I think with all said and done, all factors combined, this is going to be one of the greatest wrestling games of all time, just the way it's looking.
The greatest WWE game of all time, yes. Also, one thing we probably should have mentioned early on that I just thought about, and I was like, oh, we should have mentioned it. For those who haven't been following E3, don't know. Apparently, 2K has a wrestling ring built and set up in their mocap studio, provided to them by, I believe it's by an indie, local indie wrestling circuit there. It's a traveling ring, and WWE has sent out one of their, as Mark Little called them, ring setter-uppers, to set it up properly so that everything is regulation. Oh, and they have kendo sticks under the ring. So, yeah, that's how they're going to go about mocap everything. So, I'm actually really excited for that, because that tells me if that's what they're using to basically scan and mocap everything, that means hopefully this year, bumps and just animations in general are going to look legit, which is another thing they need to fix, which I know Mole agrees on. If I knock your ass to the ground, your ass stays the fuck down.
Yep.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a case of, oh my god, you did an RKO off the top of a ladder through a table. 2 seconds later, I'm on my feet. It's fine. I'm just gonna walk it off. But it's a case of, like I said, I don't know yet whether or not it's going to be a good game till it comes out. Because so far, what we've seen is graphics, audio, and motion capping and stuff like that being improved, which is good, and that does improve a lot of stuff. But like we mentioned in the beginning as well, I do want to know more about gameplay.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I want to know who's in charge and doing most of the development for the gameplay. That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
And how much of Ukes' bullshit are they going to keep?
I mean, I'm glad that they kept, basically, I'm glad they've improved the stuff they've improved, obviously. But I want to know whether or not this is actually going to be a good game, or if it's just going to be a case of polishing a turd.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like they're doing more than just polishing a turd, so that's what has me excited.
Yeah, it really does. I will also add, by the way, in regards to the roster, there was originally four. It was Cena, Wyatt, Hogan, and Cesaro. They since then announced Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, the Funkadactyls, and AJ are all confirmed to be in the game.
Yay, the Funkadactyls, woo.
I know.
Yay.
So exciting.
Woo.
Oh, that's the other thing that needs to be fucking fixed this year, and I hope they do. Give us a full roster. Don't shortchange the current roster.
Good luck.
Yep. That's what I always say. Instead of doing the bullshit like, oh, now it's the Attitude Era, oh, now it's 30 years of WrestleMania, just to use all the legends, I want to use the actual people.
Yeah.
And at the very least, don't limit the Divas down to the point where I can't make an actual Divas organization without resulting to shitty CAWs.
Well, see, that's why I'm hoping for that career mode, because if they do make the big-ass career mode, that'll do a couple of things. The biggest of which will basically make it unnecessary for all the legends to be in. There's going to be a few. There should be a few. I agree there should be some, but not to the extent that we've had it. Because it's not a Legends mode, it's a career mode. The other thing that it'll do is hopefully not only will we have a full roster, but we'll have a full expanded roster because they'll give us NXT people. So if we have a career mode, Chrismol, you should get your wish, hopefully, and have enough in-game divas to create your own women's league.
Hopefully. Hopefully. But
Unless they screw people again.
yeah, but what did you think needed improving, Rick?
Well, as I had before, I still want to see the online improved. Not necessarily the versus part. We don't need that anymore. Don't worry about it. We're good. We're covered on that. But like the community creations and stuff, I didn't have much experience last year, but I know the past 2 years it's been really spotty with uploading stuff like the stories and being able to download things and all that.
And
nonsense.
completely changing the downloaded stories to be naked CAWs in underwear.
And
It
changing
didn't even look like the CAWs.
Last year's online was actually a market improvement to the other years. I will give THQ and Ukes credit for that, or 2K and Ukes credit for that.
Alright,
It
I
was
will
an
say,
improvement.
Rick, you know a mode I actually would like to see if we go game modes, a mode I would like to see added to online? Escalation mode, where it's basically a 2-player tag team slobber knocker.
That would actually be kind of cool.
That'd be fucking awesome. Where it's like, okay, you 2 people in the ring, and now we're gonna keep bringing out like 2 guys, and then when you defeat them, another 2 enters the ring and stuff. That'd be great.
That would actually be pretty neat.
It would. Also, a couple of things to know. Number one, regarding the online, I also think that, in addition to boosting the connectivity, I think they need to retool how the online works, because while I think it's better that it's been when the way they locked up the ranked matches, I think it's still a problem where people are screwing over people in ranked matches. I think they need to address that.
Oh no, the argument's gonna make it back.
I know. That's why I was like.
There's not much they can do about it, unfortunately. They're going to piss people off no matter what they do, and I've kind of accepted that. Which is why I don't play ranked mode. My way of fixing it, and this is what I think needs to happen, get rid of ranked mode, because it's fucking bullshit. It's not legit at all. Just fucking get rid of it. Make it all player matches.
Keep ranked match. Keep ranked mode.
Pointless.
It's pointless to you, but there are a load of people out there that do like ranked matches, or trying to get themselves up, like playing on their own, or just seeing who they end up with in a tag team to do it. Which it's there because people find that useful. Yeah. I mean, I personally don't play too much of ranked and stuff, but I do know people that always play ranked matches on their own and stuff, which is beneficial to people. It'd be like saying, because you don't like it, remove it. I'd be like saying, well, there's people out there that don't like CAWs, let's remove them.
I'm just saying because there's no way to make ranked matches legitimate. Because I'm sorry, to me, to me, something that's not pointless is something that is legitimate. And I'm sorry, ranked matches aren't legitimate when the top 3 or 4, however many people on there, are people that nobody can touch because they've cheated to get their way up there, because they've griefed their way up there. And it's like, no, fuck off. It's like you're rewarding people for doing exactly what you're trying to stop them from doing. And it's like you're fighting a losing battle. Just as much as I just say it, just quit. Forget it. It's not worth it. It's pointless. If they had a way to actually stop all the griefing, stop all the bastards, stop all the little groups of fucking friends that want to cheat and shit and grief people, if they could stop that shit and actually make ranked matching legit, then I'd be all for it. Because I was all looking forward to trying the ranked stuff, especially when it actually started working, because I was like, that's kind of a cool idea. See, who's a better singles competitor out in the world, who's a better team player out in the world, stuff like that. It's like, that's kind of awesome. But then when I realized, yeah, the numbers are completely fucking skewed and are never going to be legit because people are fucking morons, I'm like, yeah, this is a pointless mode. I don't see a point to having it around because it doesn't work.
And
it doesn't mean anything.
I'm gonna be a dick based on the last recording and what we mentioned with like the exploiting the submission and then now the taunting with your CAWs. Maybe they just built their CAWs to be cheaters.
Wow.
That's not even the CAWs. I'm talking
Some of
about
them are
general.
CAWs. Some of them
Some
are
of them
most.
are, yeah.
A
I'm
lot of
talking
them
about
are
in
maxed
general.
out. a lot of the top ones are all maxed out CAWs with maximum stats.
Personally, I think if they did a rank one, leave it as like either one-on-one only, or like you can do tag, so like you can form a team, but then you fight other people that have set up as teams.
That could work.
I'd say for ranked, they should impose more limitations as to
Well,
like
yeah.
characters and stuff. Like maybe you can't have, no character in a ranked match can exceed like say 80 overall or something.
Yeah, no, like no CAWs, no creative finishers and stuff like that.
Well, I'd say allow the CAWs, but limit what they can do. But I would say no custom actual superstars. Like if you use an actual superstar, it reverts to the default.
Yeah, and
Because
like I
that
said,
pisses me off too. Is a lot of times you'll say someone will use, I don't know, HBK, but they'll have used the accelerator, jacked all his stats up, and completely changed his moveset to be a cheap motherfucker.
yeah, which like I said, that'd be like I said, no creative finishers as well.
Mhm.
Only
Yeah.
because I don't know if any of you out there have seen one of those videos from last year's online, which I was like, yeah, that is complete bullshit. They had basically what the hell was it now? Iron Man match with the clock ticking down. The other person had a finisher and was able to possibly use. He's like, yes, I got a finisher right now. I'm about to win this matchup, or at least tie it. I'm about to tie the match open. The other guy hit his finisher, and it was dum, punch, punch, slow punches, slow kicks, and it just went on until the time expired. And I'm like, wow, exploitive motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I think what they really need more than anything that would deal with this is active mods. It's actually the active mods working on the online servers that were tracking all, that tracked the servers and watched and kept tails on the matches and everything, and actually, look at the reports regularly. Then they could actually deal with that. But because they're just dealing with reports as they come in, there's nobody actively monitoring this, all the time. Like with a lot of online games, it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I think my solution is better by basically taking the no custom, because they have a flag on there. I think, trying to remember if it was new for 2014 or if it was new for 2013, but I think it's 2014 is when they brought it in. But they have a little flag you can check off that says no custom shit, period.
Yeah, they do have that. That was in 13. They introduced that.
Yeah, they do have
That needs to be right match, period. Except I think that's a little extreme. Like I said, allow creator wrestlers, but limit what the creator wrestlers can do so they're not exploitive and cheap. Like Mole said, no custom finishers, no, and like I said, limit the stats to like an 80 overall or something like that. Stuff like that.
Yep.
Like make the cheaters either force them to play legitly or make them not want to play. I think that'll fix the problem.
Yeah.
And the ways they've been trying to fix it, I just don't agree with, because it feels to me like their idea of trying to fix the problem is penalizing the legit players, which I have a problem with because I'm one of the legit players.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't you penalised because you couldn't exploit it with Jim in the same way other groups were exploiting stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I was penalized because I was forced into a position where I couldn't leave a match, and I was forced to basically sit there for fucking 2 hours as they were beating my face in. And I'm like, that's bullshit. I don't have time for this. I shouldn't be forced to sit here for 2 hours that I don't have. I should be able to leave the match when I want to leave the fucking match and not get penalized for this kind of shit. Legitimate penalization of leaving, like, if you're rage quitting a match, fair enough. But legitimate rage quitting, I'm sorry. No, I don't. That's not cool.
I'm pretty sure legitimate and rage quit is an oxymoron.
Yeah,
Not
they're
really.
pretty much the same thing.
Because I wanted to quit that, and Jim knows of the match of which I speak too. Because I wanted to quit that match out of rage and because those guys were fucking bullshit. And I'm sitting here like, okay, it's a work night. I don't have time to sit here and wait for your stupid bitch asses to stop beating my face in. I don't have fucking 2 hours to sit here and wait for these little punk kids to stop fighting, and I shouldn't be penalized for having to leave because I have to go to work in the fucking morning. Fuck that.
Yep. Although, as we mentioned in the past, that's mainly because the amount of people who get legitimately punished by that is a way smaller than the amount of people that would get punished because, oh no, I'm losing, quit.
True, but it just, to me, that just gives the griefers another way to grief. It gives them another way to exploit, and I don't like that. If you're going to try to stop the exploit, don't give them another one to work with. That defeats the purpose.
It's like something I'd like to bring in this game. I don't know if you'd agree on that, Rick. But I know people always talk about how, oh my god, yeah, we want more freedom with the CAWs and stuff like that. I want less freedom with most of the creative stuff besides story designer, because fuck it, what the hell can you do with that that's going to affect other people? But like CAWs, like let's say you're making a move set, I reckon there should possibly be a like pointer at the bottom with like how many points each move's worth. So as you go through your move set, and I know I've done this in the past, I know people here do that all the time. Like we shouldn't all have really fucking like finishers as our strong grapples, which means that should be limited. The creator move set should be limited. CAW points should be limited. At least that's what I think. That's what most sports games do. And the fact they don't makes it seem really, I don't know, juvenile in comparison or less fun.
Well,
Because
CAW points are limited. They've been limited for a long time. I assume you're talking about when you create the character itself.
No, when he create the moveset, he said.
No, he said He said CAW points, which I assume means.
No, he's been talking about the moveset the whole time.
Let Mo talk.
I talked about both, Jim, and I said when I was talking about the stats overall, you can still make a 100 CAW. You shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, the ability points, I understand, yeah. But for actually creating the character, they've had that for a while. They've modified it over the years.
I wasn't about creating the character that way. I wasn't about the ability points of... You should have a max number of what you can set your CAW to. It should not be 100. Your CAW should not be better than the best wrestler in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do that because the accelerator allows you to basically max out the stats of any superstar. I think they need to get rid of the accelerator, personally.
Well, that should be the same thing. If the superstars should be limited with how much you can boost them. Now, I do agree with the accelerator, but I don't agree with wrestlers being made to 100. As I said, limit that like you would the CAWs. Because let's say Wade Barrett suddenly becomes main event in the next year or two. We should be able to put his stats up enough that he can compete with main eventers in universe and not be completely screwed every time you simulate the match, if that makes much sense.
True.
It's like, that's what I used the accelerator for. Like, the year when Kane went from jobber to world heavyweight champion that was dominating everyone, I jacked his points up to the point where he was about the same as Undertaker and Cena. Mm-hmm. So I was like, he should be about the same because he dominated Undertaker. He should be at the same stats.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, unfortunately, the fact of the matter, the problem is, no matter what you do, the grievers are going to grieve no matter what, and it's
haters going to hate.
Exactly. No matter what you do, they're going to find a new way to grieve. There is no way to stop all of them. So unfortunately, they got to go with the method that has the least amount of griefing, because there's always going to be some level of it. They've got to go with the amount of griefing that screws people over the least. And unfortunately, the method they have now, it's not perfect, but it screws people over less than having open rage quitting be allowed.
Yeah, I agree with that one, but I was talking about the stats and the creative stuff, because that screws people over regardless.
Yeah.
Because, there's an option to turn that stuff off as well, but you can go to, say, like a ranked match as like a 100 CAW, and therefore you stand a lot more chance of completely dominating the league than someone that's using, like, say, I don't know, they're using Daniel Bryan.
That's why I said that should be the default. That should be what ranked is. When you go in there, you have all these limitations. You can only use superstars at their default stats. You can use CAWs, but you can't use them at max stats. Or if they implement the changes that Mole was talking about of not allowing you to max them out in the first place, then you don't actually have to implement that part. But like no creative finishes, stuff like that, just limit everything. That will dramatically reduce the number of griefers and then the rage quitting becomes less of an issue because all of a sudden there's like no rage quitters or not rage quitters. There's no like griefers and stuff on there because either they're gonna have to play legit, in which case they can't really grief you, or they're just gonna stop playing because they can't grief people.
Yep, I also think this is a small one. They should change the manager functionality in that let you play as managers and stuff, but also at the same time with managers, you should be able to create a superstar and set it as manager. And let's say, and this is really fucked up to say out loud, but let's say like you're playing Richter as Brock Lesnar. And for shits and giggles, you've given him Fandango's entrance. Paul Heyman should be Summer Rae.
Yeah.
Because that's the manager's role within that stable. Or Layla, as it now is, but fuck Layla. Basically, you know what I mean? That's how it should be. Like, if I'm coming out with Alberto's entrance back when he had Rodriguez, why wasn't my manager Rodriguez?
No, why was it Crispy yelling in Spanish?
Yeah. Well, but that's what I'm talking about. Like in universe mode or under superstars, you can assign tag team partners. You should be able to assign managers so they always come out in their entrances and stuff. I can
agree with that. But I will say that if you're going to go with that whole thing about limiting the one thing you mentioned about limiting, you can't have big, finishers as your strong grapples. I agree with that, but just be careful because you're going to screw over our old friend, the Passing Through Reviewer's entire game strategy.
To be fair, like I mentioned, we all do that. Let's not just point fingers at the poor Passing Through Reviewer just because he's not here and because he's a different race. Hi, Passing Through Reviewer. But we all do that. Like I've got like when I did it against you guys, I had like knockout punch and a power like last ride and shit as normal strong grapples for the simple reason I knew other people would, and B, it was like, oh yeah, that looks cool, but we should be limited in how many you can get, or limit the strength of those moves in that role so you can balance it out.
Well, I think the strength's already limited to those moves, but the thing is, I agree with that. But all I'm saying is that when I've played with him, compared to you guys, okay, there's hit me the last ride, or somebody hit me with this or that, or I got chokeslammed or punched in the face. I fight against Passing the Reviewer as like stunner, RKO, pedigree. It's like wow, okay then.
Yeah, but that's because you're the X-Pounds version of local talent.
Ha!
I would say yes to that, Mole.
Thank you.
Your
local talent, Jim.
Well, that too. I wasn't referring to that. But yes, I say yes to that as well. But I would say yes to what you're proposing if they make the existing moves look better. Because I'll be honest, and I think that they are doing that with the new, like I said, the new scanning technology and the new mocapping technology. But I'll be honest, when I go through moves, I don't care if it's a normal move. I don't care if it's a finisher move. I go for A, I look for moves that I want my character to do, and B, I go for the look. I want it to look right. And I'm sorry, but 9 times out of 10, the best looking version of the move is going to be a signature or finisher version of that move.
Yeah, it will be.
Because the rest of it looks like shit.
It will be, but that's also because, like, the difference between the powerbomb and the last ride was done as a finisher. Yes, Jackknife Powerbomb was, but we're talking about now that the move's evolved. The difference between the two is last ride's a finisher, so it needs to look fancier.
Yep.
But I'm not even talking about fancy. I'm talking about, like, well, maybe call me a little bit old-fashioned, but if I do a power bomb, I want it to look like a power bomb. I don't want it to look like a sloppy bomb.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know about old-fashioned. We'll call you the first 3 words in that statement.
First 3 words in old-fashioned, but that's 2 words, Jim.
No, little old-fashioned.
Fair you.
Actually, no. You got the joke. Stop picking it apart. You're ruining it.
It was only 3 words long, and you said the first 3 words. And according to Wikipedia, words are defined.
I know. I was saying a little old-fashioned were the 4 words. A little old-fashioned. Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Oh. Hi, Simon.
But yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mo. I don't necessarily want the move to look fancy. I want the move to look like the move. Like, if I do a DDT, I want it to look like a DDT. I don't want it to look like, I don't know, a necklock facebuster, because that doesn't look right.
Yeah. It's like something I'd like in this game, and I don't know if any of you here will agree. I would like to limit, and hear me out before you say no, limit the amount of moves a CAW can do to like it's powerbomb, DDT, armbar for Jim, stuff like that. But when you actually go to pick the move, like with the T-shirts where now you've got the various versions, put them all underneath there, so you don't have like a whole fucking like to search through multiple to find power bombs. You can just click power bomb, and you see every type of move. It's a power bomb to take each variation.
I agree. That would be really helpful. I agree with that because it's a pain in the ass trying to find moves. They need better move sorting. Jesus Christ.
I see what you're saying. Well, it's not necessarily limit the moves that the wrestler can do. It's limiting what's shown in the list, which I agree with.
Because like Frog Splash, you click Frog Splash, you should have Frog Splash 5-star underneath the same one. Or the Vicky Guerrero Tadpole Splash, whatever the fuck she called it. But no,
yeah, Jim said go ahead. Yeah.
I think it was a Cougar Splash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hornswoggle was the Tadpole. But yeah, I agree with what you and Jim said.
Yeah, but as Jim mentioned there briefly, I completely agree and forgot about that. Yes, their move sorting is fucking atrocious, especially with I'm sorry, 2K14's move sorting is the worst I've ever seen, and it's in part because of what they've added to moves in the game. It's just like, yeah, you have way too much and not enough room to sort that shit. You need to go back to the drawing board with that.
Yeah. But like I was talking about, I don't know if you'd agree with this, Rick, but when I was talking about like the moves, about like variants that you can like slide, is you can set, like if you do a power bomb, you should be able to set the height. Or let's say you go to do a power bomb as well, there should be a tick in there, and I don't know if everyone will agree with this one, but depending on whether or not you've got the ability to use dirty moves, like an Eddie Guerrero if you're face or any heel ever, let's say you go to do the power bomb, you should have a move where you can go like doom, low blow, and do the dirty part of it as well, so you can actually like one power bomb. Me, you, and anyone else here could have the same power bomb, but based on our sliders and little few variant options, it could be slightly different for each one of us.
So what you're saying is incorporate create a finisher into the create a moveset.
A little bit, yeah. But
That'd be
without
awesome.
but without all the placing of the pieces, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's just sliders to slightly modify what exists based on the different animations they have in the database. That makes sense.
Yeah, and like let you do it for finishers too. Like maybe for finisher, actual finishers also include something like the creative finisher of breaking the move down into parts. So let's say I go to do the RKO, and it's the one where Randy Orton goes and pounds the mat till he breaks his arm again. It's a case of I should have the option to change that particular taunt to, like, say, the Edge get up taunt, or whichever move I'm going to use to get them the hell up in that fashion. Then when they
That's what
turn
the wake
around,
up pod is for.
Yeah, but I was saying that's part of the move as well, though. So on some moves, but I was saying on some moves, I'll give you that ability. So you do that, then when they turn around and you hit the move, you've broke down that move. So when you do the RKO, you've got the sliders for how the RKO looks a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that would also then give them the ability to give us the ability to have taunts after moves, like Goldberg, for instance, when he does like his spear, he does a spear and then he gets up and he does his taunt thing. He's like,
come on, stop going around it, Marcus. We know you just want that so you can freaking spinebuster a dude and then do the Triple H thing.
That's kind of already in the game, but
I was gonna say if that was the case, we need to take the Triple H spinebuster move.
Well, I said right now he does the spinebuster and then he gets up and manually does the taunt a second later.
But yeah, I do like the ability to do something like taunts like that. Like I've said before, now I want victory celebrations back.
Yes.
And yes, to take the piss, I may take Bo Dallas's lap around the ring.
Yes. Also, speaking of how things are gonna look in the game, by the way, I'm seeing detail here that apparently a lot of mocap was done by former WWE wrestler Chris Hero.
Cool. Also, interesting facts.
Mm-hmm.
One, back to what I was saying a second ago, it's like with the create an entrance, like the create a victory thing. If you can tweak for certain stuff as well, you know what you need, Rick?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the stay-at-home dad gamer, you need the Austin thing of go on. So they throw beer, but it needs to be baby bottles. So then you go with the like breast milk.
That would be. Really
I don't know why. That would just be crazy. What the hell? Why, Rick? Why? And just like
yeah, pretty much.
That's what Rick do. But
Why, Rick? Why?
yeah, the second thing, which Jim may find interesting, by the way, I think well, this is partly rumor, but it's also based partly on fact. Chris Jericho could be in this game. I thought Jim would be more excited. Jim doesn't care about Jericho. Fair enough. But the reason I thought Jericho could be included in this game is apparently...
Sorry, that thing was muted. I didn't realize it was muted.
Yeah. The reason I say Jericho could be in the game is because it was like a couple of months ago, Jericho made a tweet that, he mentioned in an interview when they said, does he have any ties to WWE? His thing was, I don't really do much for WWE now unless they need me to go in and get a scanning for a video game. And this is the only video game with a scanning.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's true. And they also, when the guy in charge there, Mr. Little, whatever his name is over there, when he was asked about whether CM Punk was in the game, he was intentionally coy about it and kind of made a WWE joke about whether it was a quote-unquote work or not.
Is Punk in the game? Oh, you. Okay, it wasn't like that. It wasn't that type of coy. Like he was flirting with him. Oh, you.
No, not that type of coy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's like if they've got parts on CAW on wrestlers nowadays, another small feature would be kind of cool. I want to be able to rip items of clothing, and I don't mean, oh yeah, there's the diva one wearing bra and panties. As you there, a misogynist. No, I mean like if I'm against Rey Mysterio, I should be able to try and take his mask off, or if I'm against say. Maybe like Roman Reigns or someone like that. If they're in a T-shirt, I should be able to rip the T-shirt off like they do in WWE during brawls and stuff. Like rip it off until it's like it's an actual item of clothing. I think that would help.
Or have that as like a scene in Story Designer, like when they're dismantling someone in the ring, because a lot of times they do that. They like beat them up with a chair and then they like pull off the shirt because it'll hurt slightly more or something.
I will say yes if they give options for the T-shirt, because I've seen Story Designer where it's like always the same item and it's like that doesn't suit everyone. Like I don't want to be ripping like a black T-shirt off Natalia that looks like it's for Big Show.
This would require too much effort on their part, so they won't do it. But like if you have like backstage attire where you wear a shirt, it'll put you in that, and then
that would work.
It won't just put you in a shirt. That'd be hilarious.
That would totally work. And yes, as much as he wouldn't like to be scanned for this, it'd be like, let's say Richter's playing his all-time favorite, Stone Cold, and there's no joke in this. Let's say he's playing his all-time favorite, Stone Cold, and he's against Vince, and Vince is in his suit. How many times did Austin beat up Vince and rip his fucking suit off him till he was in like his underwear? You should be able to do that.
That'll be hilarious.
There should be choice. It shouldn't happen to every piece of clothing. Like every superstar should have a different piece. Like, for example, I shouldn't be able to rip the top off Natalia so she exposes her breasts, because as much as we would like that would be a little too sexist. But I should be able to like tear parts of her clothing in appropriate but tasteful ways.
Yeah, I found a conversation here. Basically, Polygon interviewed Mark Little. And Polygon said, sure, but I mean, the folks we're seeing every night, we're going to see in here, with the exception of maybe CM Punk. A little paused, talking about the rosters later. Oh, is this a work? I work on the WWE now. You shouldn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to milk Punk for the last bit of money they can get out of him.
Although,
why not? His model's probably been done.
Not including the ability to say, rip Natalia's, like, fucking tank top or whatever off, that could also be considered the other way around sexist as well. Because if you think about it, in WWE, the like Divas matches, that's happened multiple times where they like rip the top off and then they cover their breasts and run away. That we should be able to do that in the game. Why include that only for the guys and not the girls? To me, that's a little bit sexist.
I'd like to point out
because if you rip off, say, Kane's tank top, no one's going, oh my god, Kane nipples, fap, 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 fap. But if you do it with the Divas, they're going to be doing that. Plus, if you do it with the Divas, it's going to up the age rating.
Plus, I'd like to point out that the Divas haven't really done that in a very long time.
That too, because they are putting Divas in pants and stuff. It's a little less sexual nowadays, which is good.
Yeah. Although apparently whatever colors they're putting them in now are not very good because I think recent just out of the last like year and a half, somebody put together like the top 10, 11 or 11 wardrobe malfunctions or some shit like that of the demons.
I'm gonna say if you're still listening to his Queen of Hearts, I'm sorry for that sexism. Except for Richter, he's allowed to be sexist.
That's right.
He's married. He's suffered.
Mhm.
It's like people that have been war heroes. They're allowed to be a little bit biased towards the war.
Mhm.
But no, like I said, I think those abilities, like I said, would be kind of cool. And you should be able to like rip the Diva's clothes in different ways. Like I said, some superstars you shouldn't be able to rip everything off them. Like, let's say Goldust, you shouldn't be able to rip his PVC outfit off because that hardly ever happens. But like
Right.
a suit should be ripped away. I mean, hell, when was the last time you saw Triple H in a feud with someone in a suit where he didn't feel the need to strip it off himself to pose with muscles?
True. And also, no, if you're fighting Goldust, you should throw a bottle of water in his face with paint all runs the fuck off.
Yeah, but they should include, like, I know they had a little bit, but they should include, like, if I'm against Goldust in an Iron Man match, by the end of the match, his face paint should run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Stardust.
Yeah, or if I'm against Marcus, his mascara should run.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
But what did you guys think, Ben, since we're going quiet? Just
If they-
what do you guys think about the fact they said new game modes?
I'd be interested to see where they are, but just the quick reaction to what you had just said, if they were to include something like that, it needs to be a mechanic that applies to all like paints and makeup and stuff. Like for instance, if I go in and I make Jeff Hardy, by the end of the match, his face paint and like arm paint should be running.
Unless you're against Ultimate Warrior, whose face paint is clearly some sort of bulletproof material that can't even make him look.
Pretty much.
Reference
would
to
laugh-
last game, not insulting the dead.
I would laugh my ass off if they did apply it to every single piece of create parts that they would consider like paint or makeup, because if someone went in and created Hollywood Hulk Hogan, by default his beard would run by the end of the match.
Yep, unless they bring the beard back.
That's a pre-order bonus, dude.
Yeah, but
No, I'm saying if you create Hollywood Hulk Hogan,
yeah,
if they created it, it would be part of his face because they would just fucking scan that shit in. But if you create it, the beard would have to be makeup because it's the only way to make the beard look right, and therefore it would run by the end of the match.
yeah, I said unless they bring the beard back, because one year they did have the Hollywood Hulk Hogan beard there with different things where you could change the mustache and stuff.
Okay.
But they
Fair
took that out. They took that out. I don't know when, but it was pretty stupid. But the game, like I said, game modes. They said they're adding game modes. I know some people didn't like it, which is fair enough. I want GM mode back.
I can agree with that.
See, I don't. I want what we discussed, I think, was in our last WWE games, like WXR or whatever. I want GM stuff to be incorporated with Universe. I just want Universe mode to be the mode. Well, aside from, like, say, Career mode. Career mode and Universe mode, I want those to be separate. But I want Universe to incorporate stuff from GM mode because then we get everything that we want. You know, we get the promos, we get the feuds, we may get the dialogue choices, we get, you know, match ratings for shows. You can incorporate some of the GM stuff for the shows. You'd have the ability to say assign the GMs for the shows, and then instead of playing as a superstars, you could play as the GM for a show or something if you wanted to. I think that'd be awesome. Don't make it a separate mode. Incorporate it. It'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah,
Could
I agree. Sorry, you go, Rick.
Oh, I was just gonna make a dumb joke. I was gonna say, is there like I know he's not there right now, but are they gonna have like a Tilo option where you can just put anyone in a tag match?
Ha!
You're welcome, Rick. But yeah, no, I was gonna say, yeah, I agree with keeping stuff from GM mode in there, like you described, like maybe promos and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'd want them separate because, for lack of a better term, this is a sports game, and it's like if you play Madden, you play through Madden as, say, the team itself, or you can play through a mode where you're just managing the team, and yeah, you get a chance to play it, but they normally go by different saves, because let's say you wanted to play a game where you're just Triple H, aka WWE 14. No, I'm kidding. But let's say you wanted to play a game where you're just, say, Triple H managing the show. It should be, or you're just the GM in charge of the show. It should be a different save so that you can then go do the wrestling stuff and play as wrestlers on the other show, and it won't affect your managing save, because it's kind of two different styles of play. But I do agree, similar stuff from both should be in, like a match rating. Like, okay, did I just get a 4-star match? Did I just get a 5-star match?
Right. Well, I kind of disagree. I think it should be all one, but but as you kind of slipped a little bit in saying your words, one thing I do kind of agree with is you could separate it between the shows. So, like, for instance, if, let's say, you decide to keep Raw and SmackDown, you could say, okay, I want to manage Raw and I'm going to play on SmackDown. So you set Raw to manage and you set SmackDown not, and you could play that way. But what I was thinking is, if you make it all one mode, like I said, you get that incorporation of some elements from like the GM mode into the universe mode, but you'd have the ability to then toggle to manager. Like, say, for instance, this next month I'm going to manage. I don't want to play. I'm just going to completely manage it. You toggle into GM mode. All of a sudden, you get all these different options that you didn't get in standard universe mode because you're now managing. Whereas when you're in standard universe mode, you get other options that you wouldn't get in managing mode, but you lose a lot of the pure management options. So you could play either mode that you want, but it'd be all in the universe mode. And I think it works because unlike some of those other sports games and stuff, the way that WWE Universe Mode works, which I like, and it would work well with what I'm proposing, is the fact you don't have really a season. It's continuous. So you could say, okay, I'm going to manage for the next 3 months. And then it's like, okay, I actually kind of want to wrestle now. I'm going to toggle off the manager mode, and I'm going to let the AI, the computer, kind of dictate that stuff, and I'm just going to go beat people up. And so you're not restricted to one mode, and it works because it's a continuous thing. So it's not like, once you get to the end of the year, it ends. No, it just keeps going. Whereas in other sports game with the season, once you get to the end of the season, it kind of ends, and then you can start a new season.
Yeah, but the reason I would keep them separate personally is because your goals as manager should be completely different as your goals as a superstar. As a superstar, your goal should be to win the most golds and shit, or to get the most exposure, or to do whatever the hell you want to do as a superstar. As a manager, you should be worried about stuff like, let's say you're on Raw. Oh my god, we're starting to lose the ratings here. I need better feuds. Okay, I'm starting to lose ratings here. I need to hire a new superstar from SmackDown or NXT. Boom, put them on there. And it should be like you're competing for ratings on that one, whereas in Universe Mode, you're competing to be the best superstar. Which at least that's how I personally see it. And I do understand the year thing, but the way I do it is I'd start it like they did with the last GM mode of day after WrestleMania up to the next WrestleMania, and after WrestleMania you get a consultation, or whatever you want to say, or a meeting with Triple H and Stephanie, or whatever, if you're a GM, and they're like, okay, look, you've done well here with the managing the feuds, and you've done well with this. Your ratings, you dropped a little bit of ratings, but you managed to pick it back up. Okay, we're going to rehire you. And that should be the thing, which I think that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand what you're saying. You want some like goal-oriented stuff, which is fair enough. If they do that, then I have only one request, and yes, it's going to sound pretentious. No, I don't care.
From you?
Give me a GM mode that actually fucking works. Because every GM mode I've ever played in any WWE game, it's never fucking worked. Because no matter what I do in GM mode, I can't ever get any ratings. No matter who I put in match, no matter what matches I make. And if I start making matches to try to get ratings, and this is the problem I've had with every GM mode I've ever played, I could get ratings, but if I do that, I lose about half my superstars in like 2 months because they all get injured.
Yeah, which I agree with, because one of my problems with GM mode, I liked GM mode, but I felt it should have been more like TEW, where you can even pick who wins and loses, because we know it's fake. But as well as that, the matchup itself should also go by the feud, I think, like how well you've built up your feud. Like, let's face facts, Daniel Bryan v Kane was a pretty shit match. However, some people were interested in it because the build up to the feud at least kept people interested that you wanted to see that match.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the feud should do. Like, I don't know, if I'm putting Big Show v Mark Henry, it's not going to be a 5-star match. But the build up to the feud should knock it up a star or two if it was built up well.
The other thing too is if they do a GM mode, for the love of God, 2K, whatever you do, do not model it after WWE. I repeat, do not model it after WWE.
Why
Because
not? Cool.
I'm sorry, I don't want to get rewarded for having a great feud and fucking no payoff. No, fuck that shit.
To be fair, that's how the feuds in Universe Mode are. But
that's why they need to improve it.
Yeah. But there should be something to do with the feud ratings and stuff. And as well as that, there should be an option if they do a GM mode of who are you putting as the face of Raw. And I understand it's meant to be the face of the company, but it helps to see if like the SmackDown GM's doing better than you and stuff. And I kind of like that. And you can do a 2-player with one being Raw, one being SmackDown. But I kind of like the idea if they did that, or even if you're just the GM of Raw and SmackDown, like you're the WWE GM, it would be cool to be like, let's say Marcus's favorite on the roster right now currently is Daniel Bryan. He can put Daniel Bryan as the face of the company like he is now. But let's say Richter really likes, I don't know, Cena.
Okay.
He can put Cena as the face of the company. Or let's say Jim likes Rusev. He can put Rusev as the face of the company. And you can do it that way, which can also affect your sales based on if you've got a face of the company, like your Rusev or your Cenas or your Bryans, whoever you put as the face of the company also has to be predominantly kept in great feuds and stuff more than any other superstar, because if your face takes a dive, your company's going to take a dive. And yes, you can obviously rotate it. Like, okay, I'm now doing, like let's say Richter's like, you know what, I never really liked Cena. I was just using him because I know he's got a marketability profit. But Randy Orton's been in some great feuds. He now makes his face Randy Orton. That would be cool as well. I think that aspect would be pretty great and pretty in-depth.
You know what I'd like to see now that you mention it? It would take a lot of work. They probably won't do it for at least several iterations of the game. But if they get a GM mode that works and takes off, I want to see a multiplayer online GM mode where, like, let's say, I would say probably at max 3 players. Because what I'm thinking is we set up like our own WWE corporation or whatever, you know, kind of like the squads in Battlefield Hardline, where you invite the people in, and you all pick from one central roster of, you know, you get to pick draft basically who you want in the show, and it's comprised of all the default superstars that are unlocked at the time. I would assume we wouldn't do until we had all the superstars unlocked, but all the superstars and divas. But it would also take all of our created wrestlers and toss them in there as well if we turn created wrestlers on, obviously. So, like, you know, we could have like 3 versions of me, 3 versions of you, whatever, you know, if we've downloaded each other. But we all pick from that central talent, and then we're competing against each other on shows. Like, say, I take Raw, you take SmackDown, Jim takes, I don't know, let's say we decide to make like ROH, let's say. Or no, NXT is in the game. He takes NXT. And we're competing, against each other for weekly ratings and stuff. And so, like, you know, basically by the end of the week you will have had to have set your shit up and simulated the show or whatever, maybe even played a match if you wanted to. And then at the end of each week it tallies that up and sees, you know, who's better. Like you said, you have the Vince or I guess it'd be Triple H or Stephanie at that point coming in doing your evaluation. And then once a month we each run a pay-per-view with our roster, and then it tallies that up to see who had the better pay-per-view that month. And then during the course of the GM mode, you could also, like, I don't know, I could go to you and say, hey, Mole, I want to trade you for Roman Reigns. Or, you know, go to Jim, hey, Jim, I want to trade you for Rey Mysterio or something. And you could, like, broker trades between the shows. Fuck you!
I'm kidding with that, but I understood what you meant. 2 things I would say with that. Cool. One would be doing it like Mario Kart on Wii U, where you had a set day in which you had to compete, or you don't even have to set a set date. It should be a set date, like, say, I don't know, the end of the month. Each month you have to have done your GM stuff for the online against your friends. You have to have completed your pay-per-view by then, because otherwise it delays everyone. So do it like that. So you got a whole month to do whatever the fuck you want whenever the hell you want. Second thing was, what about Richter? Why don't you want to play with Richter? He's right there. I still validate you, Richter. ECW's returning. There you go.
Depends on how many people we get on for the full roster.
He can make his own. He can make his own ECW. Whatever he does, it'll still be better than WWE's ECW.
Yeah, ECW will return, but the star of your show has to be the zombie.
Yeah, but I think that should be something you should get. I think that should be something you get a choice to do if you do Universe mode like that, and you got the rosters, and you literally do like the first thing, like the draft, so you're picking between the group. You shouldn't name it Raw, SmackDown, or whatever. You should name the company, and you can't take WWE. Like Rick, I could take WCW. Richter could take ECW. Marcus could make Forever Degenerate Productions. Jim could make, I don't know, a noise. No, I'm kidding.
I was thinking we'd have different shows within the same company. That way it would make logical sense. We'd all be picking from one central roster, and we'd be able to move people around.
Oh, I agreed with the concept. The only reason I mentioned the different, technically count them as different companies, is so you're actually competing for ratings. Because WWE doesn't really care if SmackDown gets more ratings than Raw or NXT gets more ratings. Because either way, if I like, okay, Raw's got now NXT ratings, NXT now has Raw ratings, they're still like, ka-ching, we're making money. Whereas if you did it as a separate company, you would actually have to compete for ratings that would matter. But the other way works too. That works perfectly fine. Can we at least let us name our show? Because I would definitely name it WCW.
Yeah, no. The first thing that would happen when you load it up and you accept who's going to be in the thing is everybody gets the little create a show window that has like the name.
Oh yes, you can do the belts and stuff.
Yeah, the only thing you wouldn't be able to do is the roster. If you tried to go in there, it wouldn't let you do it because you'd have to go into the draft and like trade people and whatnot.
Which you just touched upon something I also kind of got annoyed with Universe mode.
What's that?
I got annoyed with Universe mode where you couldn't vacate a title and have it so no one's champion, so the feud will lead to that person being champion. It's like you have to put someone as champion. I'm like, fuck off, it's a new title.
Yeah, they should allow vacated titles but when you do it, immediately bring up something that says, okay, set up a tournament or a match or what have you for the title.
Yeah, you have to like have the feud within that month for the title, because that'd be cool. Because that way, if your titles are essentially vacant, by the end of the month, I'd be curious who the fuck everyone's champion's going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Mine,
in fact,
WCW champion, Fandango.
In fact, I would say for GM mode, to make it even more interesting, by default, all titles should start vacated. And then it's up to the GM to determine how and who gets crowned the champions.
Yep. Like Richter would probably take ECW, and trying to think who Richter would actually take out the current roster to make his champion. I'm going to go, assuming he's in it. If he's not, I'm going to go with Stardust.
Sure.
Cody Rhodes was awesome.
And that's an interesting question. Is he going to be in the game as Cody Rhodes or as Stardust?
Cody Rhodes.
Neither. He's in the game as a superstar head. You have to choose. Choose the form of the Destroyer.
I think they should have him in both, like as default as Cody Rhodes, but then have Stardust be an alternate. Kind of like what they do with Shawn Michaels, where if you choose his DX outfit, he comes out with like the DX music and entrance and stuff.
Yeah. It's like if they ever do a career mode again, I want mini games. I know, mini games, but I want mini games because, like, if we go to the gym, it should be like UFC did this on one of theirs one year, and some of the MMA ones have done this. But if I go to the gym,
why are you going to the me?
but if I go to the gym, I should be a case of I get a mini game of performing punches on like the fucking punching bag or on the treadmill, and based on how well I perform in the mini game, depends how well my superstar actually trains.
Now, I reckon they should do that for career mode, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if they put that in the game, can you get a choice like of what day of the week, every day you're gonna work out, like pick a day, and get like a huge bonus point, a huge push if you get there on the day that Triple H is there?
Yeah. Just like you'll become Triple H's right hand man, if essentially speaking you team with him for months and shit in a diva's bag.
Pretty much.
Actually,
Oh, and you
Jim
have to find
touched
a
on-
black character within the game and call him stupid.
Actually, Jim.
And you have to find a really popular character and repeatedly assault his father.
Hey,
Yes, but I think Jeff or Marcus was saying something.
well, they can see my name, so that's fine. But I think Jim touched on something that, now that I think about it, would be
His penis?
awesome, and it would. What?
No, nothing.
I,
What did you say? You said he touched upon something, and I said his penis.
Ah. Yes, but no, he said something about showing up at the gym and Triple H being there. They could really work this into really building your character, I think, and building feuds and alliances, because you could go pick a date to go work out at the gym, and depending on what day you pick, randomly there'll be like a superstar that, say for instance, you walk in on a Tuesday, immediately after Raw, you walk in, John Cena might be there working out. Say you walking on a Friday, I don't know, Daniel Bryan might be working out, and based on your performance in the gym and stuff like that, and maybe even dialogue choices, Mass Effect style, saying, what are you going to say to them? You might impress him. Like, for instance, if you run into Daniel Bryan there and you do some workouts, and he comes over and goes, "Hey, you're looking pretty good there. How you liking WWE so far?" And you start talking, and then maybe by the end of that workout session, he's like, you and I should work in the ring sometime together. Come look me up on Raw next week. Maybe we can do something. And, that could build into an alliance. Or, say you walk in and Kane is working out there. You might piss him off, and then on Monday he might come out and choke slam your ass.
I agree, that'd be cool. It's like with the idea of the competing with each other on GM modes, I'd like a budget. And the reason I say a budget is because that way it can limit, let's say a ladder match costs more than a normal match, or an elimination chamber costs more than a ladder. And stuff like, oh, we got a new message in chat. Who's chatting to me?
I don't know.
But it was Jim saying BRB.
Okay.
But yeah, let's say we're doing that and we got the budget, Rick and Marcus, because that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So you're limited as well to how you can't just make every matchup a fucking TLC. But as well as that, if you've got money, whatever money you've got left afterwards, you can actually attack the other players. For example, let's say I've done a pure wrestling show with all normal matches. I've got a shit ton left at the end of the month. I can cash that in for, say, a DX style go to your show in a tank with a group of my superstars. Whereas, let's say Richter's decided to make ECW, he wants more hardcore, he has a really limited budget with what's left. He then gets the option to, I don't know, show up in a car and yell through traffic cones. Hi, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn.
Wait, how about also just with the budget thing is a way to attack people? What if you could one of the things you could do was send them Paul Heyman, and that would reduce their budget?
Yes.
It'd be like poison damage to their money. God, why did they send him over? I wish I could de-hire him. And it's like, nope, he has a contract.
Yeah. But I like that
thinking,
idea of the budget. Like, for example, let's say the face of my company, because he's my favorite, I'll go Undertaker and I've put the title on him. The face of Richter's is Austin. The face of Marcus's is Marcus's favorite character,
Marcus.
The Rock.
Thinking Heath Slater. Then basically, okay, I know it's The Rock. I'm aware of that. But yeah, let's say I've got some money left over. I could send the Undertaker to your pay-per-view to screw over your champion, so my face of the company now looks better. But obviously, if he interferes in your matchup and you see The Rock thing, you could obviously, because like we said, you might be able to play the matches or whatever. But let's say you're playing let's say you're doing that as The Rock and the Undertaker interferes. If you fight him off and you actually manage to still win as The Rock, Undertaker now looks less of a face of a champion, so that's like a risk or reward benefit.
Mm-hmm. I was also thinking, and I don't know, excuse me, if this would be overkill, but with the whole budget thing, aside from, having to manage your budget, pay your superstars, and give them the proper bonuses and all that crap, I was thinking, what if? Because I was thinking, there would be a free agent list afterwards too, like comprised of all the superstars we didn't choose to take and CAWs we didn't choose to take. I was thinking, what if there's also a separate part of that for staff? So you have to hire staff, like you have to hire like writers and a head writer and the refs and stuff, and they have like different stats. So like, if you hire one ref, he might be very straight-laced, very, upfront and very professional, whereas you hire another ref, he might be more prone to manipulation.
Yeah.
It might, and I think that'd be kind of cool because then not only would we be trading superstars, but we'd also be trying to trade amongst each other to get the best staff we possibly can.
Yeah.
Because
That would
you might
totally-
have a better writer than I have, but if I have a better trainer than you do, my superstars will be able to wrestle longer and they'll have the exposure, but my storylines won't be as good as yours. But you might have like the best storylines in the world, but half your roster might be like injured or disabled.
Yeah, like I reckon there should be options to earn more money, or to expose more of your superstar. Like let's say Richter does have CM Punk on his roster, and he's like, okay, CM Punk's not very popular right now, even though he's a face. He could take him and place him, and it could make a CM Punk DVD collection. Or
Right.
let's say Marcus is really limited in cash, and now he doesn't have enough to do the Elimination Chamber at Elimination Chamber like he wants. He's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna have to do something risky here. Fuck it. And then you place, like, I don't know, Daniel Bryan if he's on your side because he's really popular. Because he's popular, you place him in a WWE films, and that film can generate you money.
Yeah.
But as a result, you don't have that superstar for a few months while he's filming.
I agree. But of course, this kind of GM mode is probably something that won't happen for, like I said, a few iterations. Because
Yeah.
I really feel they should focus on what it seems like they're focusing on now, which is
They should
the
do.
core, the base. Get the core working properly, and then build on that. Which I think is the direction they're going in. So I applaud 2K for that.
But to be fair, the core was a pretty shit stable.
Booyah!
That's why I
No.
said they need to improve it.
Yeah, booyah. But yeah, I was going to say, with that, I reckon it might be better if they did almost 2 separate games each year, because the GM mode of all the features we want is a little too complex. But I could totally see that, like how Call of Duty swaps every year. If they did that, and with their new scanning technology could improve the roster, and they still want to make money, year 1, WWE Simulator game. Year 2, GM game. Year 3, WWE Simulator. Year 4, GM mode. And you get the point because you can count. Also, welcome back, Jim. And I think we're ready to exit out because I think we've been doing this for 2 hours. Almost 2 hours.
Does Jim have
What?
anything else left to say?
No, I think the only thing I didn't think we wanted to highlight on was the fact that, well, 2K has not officially said it, or WWE is, and neither WWE has not officially said it. The reports of everything that's been filmed and what's going around is it's all but confirmed that Sting will be the pre-order bonus, and therefore that lends credence to the possibility that there could be, instead of a 30 years of WrestleMania, a heavy WCW history-related story mode for this year. Do you guys think it's a good thing, bad thing? Are you excited? What do you think?
Yeah, depending on how they do that, that could be good. Instead of focusing on that, I reckon they could possibly, and I know this would limit the roster more, but they would do anyway if they did WCW. It should be like Monday Night Wars, where you pick WWE or you pick WCW, and you're one of the superstars on either show. And the better you do, the more your company is going to do. So you have to compete in the ratings against WWE or against WCW or ECW for Rick.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. I could go for that.
See, that's what I thought the GM mode thing that we were talking about. That's what I thought they should call the mode, like Monday Night Wars mode or something. But
They're not all going to be
no,
Monday.
I don't.
What? If you're giving someone SmackDown, they're not all on Mondays. Your name means nothing. Nothing, Marcus. Nothing.
But no, I personally, and I think Mole somewhat feels similarly. I don't think they should do anything like that. I think they should just stop with the story modes. It's dumb. Give us the career mode. The career mode will be awesome, especially if 2K is doing it. You know their career mode's going to be awesome. If they want to do stories, they should go old school. They should go back to what THQ and Ukes did when they were first starting out, and have maybe a short collection of, a collection of like short storylines that are unique and new storylines created using the superstars in the game, not creating storylines that require superstars to be in the game. I don't want any mode in there that's going to screw the current roster. To be quite frank, I'm kind of sick of them screwing the current roster.
Yep,
As
and
much as I like the old superstars, I kind of have to side with the mole. Stop screwing the current roster.
Yep, and to be fair, like I said, I don't mind like a handful of extra like
Yeah.
legends, and maybe do more for DLC if they're not made before the game comes out. But it's a case of I'd like it the career mode more instead of story modes because okay, it's going to be a story mode for your CAW or whatever, but as it's like that, we're not going to have shit like because let's face it, as much as I think some people like them, I can't think of a single WWE storyline in the game, and I know some of them have been good, like Candice Michelle's Wand and stuff, but I can't think of a year where every storyline they had made me go yay instead of oh why the fuck is this in the game.
Yeah.
True. But I think the years that they've had those kind of storylines has, in my opinion, been better than when they've tried to recreate reality, so to speak.
Kind of, except for the last few Road to WrestleManias have not been good. I didn't like the Road to WrestleManias. Except
Well, no, that's
for
recreating reality. I'm talking about when they did like the Candice Michelle stuff. I thought that stuff was 10 times better because it was stuff you'd never seen and you'll never see like on TV, but it was fun and you could kind of see it happening in WWE, and it's kind of what if with WWE with all that supernatural stuff was actually supernatural. I like that. I'm like, it's taking WWE and bringing it even further into the realm of fiction, which I kind of like. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool because you get to see this kind of stuff, which you can't really see on live TV.
Yeah, but the reason I mentioned Road to WrestleMania is that wasn't really creating reality. They were making up their own stories, and some of it was like you mentioned with that. Like there was one where you had to run around with the Undertaker's urn collecting souls to unlock Master Kane. There was an
Oh,
Edge
you're
and
talking about
Christian's
those,
time
yeah.
machine and
Yeah,
stuff like
those,
that. Road
yeah.
to WrestleMania. I didn't like them as
No.
much. Although I did enjoy Rey Mysterio heel. That was
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with the fact most of the other storylines that same year I didn't like, means I didn't like the mode. But I think a mode like career mode, where you got choices of like what you say in the interviews, how you do shit, that lends itself more to, and I know Richter's played this, No Mercy storyline, where it was the same thing, but it evolved slowly based on some decisions and stuff.
Yeah.
I loved that, where it was like never ending as a result.
What I would like though for the career mode, and this would actually get me to create superstars before unlocking everything, assuming every unlocks are tied to the career mode. I want there to be two versions of it that you choose from the beginning, either a solo career or a stable career. So I could actually like take the X Pound and bring them into WWE, kind of like Shield style.
Yeah, that could be cool as well. It's like if they did career mode, something I think they need is a choice later on. This brings in one of the features that's actually in the game. Like let's say you've made it from, if the rumor was true, if you've made it from NXT all the way to Raw, when you eventually win the WWE Championship, you should get a scene where Vince or Triple H or Stephanie or someone comes up to you backstage like, look kid, you're the champion now. Now the question is, what type of champion are you going to be? And they give you a choice. You can join them and become like an authority stooge and get a suit and shit. You can be really arrogant and make a custom belt using the creator belt mechanic, or you can just try doing it as you are now, and just like, no, I want to be one of the people. You know what I mean, or something along those lines. Which I think that could be kind of cool, because then each time you were played through it, it'd be different.
And then you say no, I want to do it myself. I want to be one of the people, and then they give you the option, or they force you to get a really stupid catchphrase.
Yup, like show you the light.
Fuck you.
You need a cool catchphrase like, that's how Rick roll.
That's what Rick do.
That's what Rick do, and also Rick roll. Or Jim's catchphrase of silence.
Silence! I kill you!
Jim's catchphrase is basically Michael Cole during the Cole booth of, Wikipedia says, and I quote.
Ah.
Yes, now I want to see that. I want to see the Wikipedia booth.
I mean, admit it, Michael Cole as a heel when he was a complete douche, put a mustache on him and he was Jim.
Pretty much. Didn't he have a mustache half the time when he was a heel?
Sometimes, but And that was said with love, Jim.
Of course it was.
If it helps, I gave you. Actually, I don't know. I didn't mention Jim before when I was doing the favourites, but that's because he was AFK. But yay, you could make Jericho on your show and put him as the face of the company. Woo!
Nice.
If we had our idea. Or just the leather pants of the company. Cue the clip.
Am I the only one who thinks it's kind of ironic that if you were going around giving us faces of our company, they're all legends?
They weren't the first time. The first time it was like, you had Daniel Bryan, Richter had John Cena, I gave Jim Rusev.
Oh, that's true. Fair enough.
Poor Jim when he got Rusev.
Yeah.
Need to give Jim someone better than Rusev.
Well, to be fair, to even it out, yeah, he has Rusev, but he gets Lana as well.
Yeah, and I would admit if I could pick her and if she was on my roster and I made a face of the company, I would do something ballsy and I'd make my face of the company someone like Paige or Summer Rae.
There you go.
Just because
Okay.
it'd be different.
Yes. Except that because of that switch you made earlier, Summer Rae will come out walking and talking like Paul Heyman.
Yeah. My client, Fandango,
Exactly.
ended the tango.
And it's a worm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the worm. There you go.
But like I said,
Take
I
it
think we've
home, oh
exhausted-
Hammy one.
Yeah, like I said, I think we've exhausted this.
Yeah.
Unless anyone else had anything.
No, I think we're good.
We
Nope,
want
so-
more info. 2K, make it happen.
So, yeah,
Relax,
so-
remember, the info always comes out at SummerSlam. That's only like a month and a half away. Calm down.
Isn't there no SummerSlam access this year due to budget cuts?
There's no access, but that doesn't mean they won't start showing promos and stuff on Raw.
I know, but they did it at the access the last few years, so now I'm really curious.
Now we'll
They'll
figure it out.
probably, you know how WWE does their specials now. They'll probably do it in the middle of SummerSlam. Be like,
That's
you know, have
possible.
like Cole and JBL and the
Well,
Kingman
no,
and
they'll have whoever's on the cover walk out, cut a promo about how awesome they are, and then release a giant ass poster.
Yeah.
Or they'll release information at like PAX when Richter's at PAX, but in midway through they'll stop it. Midway they'll stop what they're doing. They'll look down at Richter, squirt him with water, and be like, "No, Brutus, no, we told you, you're fired. Get out of here." Future
Or-
endeavors.
or they could do the dick
Focus on
thing
my eyes.
and be
Or they
like,
could do the dick thing. Squirting Richter in the face with water and kicking him out of PAX is not dickish to you.
No. He doesn't consider me a person, remember?
yes, it is. But they could do the dickish thing and be like, yes, we're not having a SummerSlam access this year, but we will be revealing information about 2K15 exclusive on the WWE Network.
Yeah, I'll YouTube it the next day.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, if they're gonna do the WWE thing, because they know not everyone's got the network, it's gonna be during. It might be during Raw, like they did one year.
Maybe.
Hey.
But I could see them putting it on the network as like a SummerSlam exclusive on the network, like as part of like the pre-show or something.
I can
How
see that.
awesome would it be if they have a cover and it's Triple H, and when you press the button, he just goes, "You paid for this." Oh my God! Yeah, just releasing a random game really is best for business. Suck it if you don't like the changes. And it literally laughs if you press a button.
That'd be funny.
I'd like that cover.
That's the non-pre-order version.
Yeah, it's the non-pre-order.
Yeah, it laughs at you if you didn't prepay.
No, that should be the collector's edition. It should be like, you really paid for a collector's edition, you poor sap.
Yeah. It's like before we end, I will also say that's something else I want.
What's that?
I want adverts in the game. In universe mode. And I don't mean like buy Diet Coke. No. I mean like an injured superstar gets a return advert. There's DLC out, and even if you haven't got the season pass, it should start taunting the DLC characters coming, because it's basically encouraging you to buy them.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still say that eventually they should include a lot of the stuff that we wanted that we discussed, probably in the video that is now no longer going to be put up. But you know, like with all the promos and stuff, give us the ability to choose like return promos, or allow us to like gimmick change in the middle of the year and whatnot. You know, so you have gimmick change promos or stuff like that. I think that'd be awesome.
But it is
You know,
going
if
up.
they're-
But it is going up. It's going up on Richter Hammer's personal channel.
Yeah.
I
You know,
will
or
say,
if
That's going
If
to be
the
the
rumors
director's
are
cut of this
true-
episode. Come on.
yeah, I will say, based on how dickish you've all been towards Richter today, that will go up on the Stay at Home Dad's channel called The Director's Cut. And
The Richter Donner cut.
And when you and Jim get into one of your many little fights, there's going to be chibi versions of you, and it's going to say "fight," and then it's going to be the arguments as they're fighting Mortal Kombat style.
That would be awesome.
there you go. But yeah, I was gonna say if the rumors are true with the like career mode stuff, and they're gonna do a heavy NXT presence, I also want the ability to like, you know, like they shunt people down to NXT or bring people up from them and then do gimmick changes that way and stuff, so you can like repackage superstars. I think that'd be awesome.
I agree. The Undertaker is now being repackaged as the Overtaker. His gimmick is he's in a car and he always overtakes people. It makes no sense.
His tag team partner is Vin Diesel.
It's Kane.
It's Kane with Riddick glasses.
It's Kane who's been repackaged as Citizen Kane. And that doesn't mean suit. He'll be repackaged as Citizen Kane and he'll come out dressed like David Utonga. And he'll be a polite driver.
Wow, you turned Kane into a butler.
No, I turned him into David Utonga, like the sweater vest, like he's just come from Yale. And to be fair, that gimmick would actually really suit Kane, because if you ever heard him speak, he's actually really well educated, probably better than anyone here. And he's really well spoken, which props to Kane.
Yeah.
True.
Am I the only one who wants to see Undertaker come out with a cowl and Kane just following him dressed like a butler?
Anyway, I think that about does it.
Yes, Mr. Hammer, take us home.
That's all, folks.
Yeah.
We need to animate that being said from like a full version of your pixelated self coming out the bubble. Just at the end, like, that's all, folks, as he leaves.
And then to keep canon, as we mentioned in one of our last videos, then it warps into Mole's face, just goes, "You mad, bro?"
With Mole's face with the Kane mask.
And then it morphs into Marcus Shadow's face, and it's just a whole crowd saying, "Ah, kill it with fire!"
Fuck you. But yes, take us home.
Well, yep, that was the news we've had so far and things we'd like to see in 2K15. I'd like to thank everyone here for joining us and everyone listening at home for joining us, and we will see you next week. Same WXR time, same WXR channel.
Except for next week, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, our next WXR will be post Money in the Bank. So get ready for that. We'll see you next time, folks.
No, let Rick do the outro before you hang up to it, Jim.
No, that's fine. I did.
I know, when he did the other one before he ends.
We're still alive.
He Jimmed it. He marked